your latest news update from Western Mass News.
Good morning, I'm Amanda Callahan. Here's your latest news update from Western Mass News. A man from Holyoke is facing several charges after police found a ghost gun in his possession during a traffic stop. Juan Rodriguez Menier was pulled over on Pine Street back on November 9th. When officers ran his license plate, they discovered his registration had been expired. During a search of his vehicle, police found a handgun with no serial number hidden in a fast food bag and a second gun in the trunk of the car. The Hatfield Police Department is reminding the public about scams during this time of year. They're letting everyone know that the town's police department does not solicit money and is not actively fundraising at this time. In a Facebook post, they ask people to remain vigilant and do their research before donating to specific causes. Right now, dozens of people are without a place to stay ahead of the holidays after multiple fires in Western Mass. The Red Cross has been called in to help displaced families 7 times this week alone, and the organization is now saying it's being stretched thin.
All right, happy Thursday, everybody. Kind of a chilly day today with temps in the low to mid 40s. It'll be rather blustery. There'll be a couple of flurries and maybe a sprinkle in the valley and even a few snow showers, perhaps across Berkshire County in the hill towns. That could drop a quick coating across grassy surfaces. That'll just melt away as the snow shower moves on out. It's actually lake effect snow showers that are making the trip across New York State. But for the valley, it's really just a flurry or a sprinkle. This afternoon, it'll be more a sprinkle with temps in the low to mid 40s. As we go into tonight, we're down into the 20s with a changeable sky, and that'll be the case tomorrow as well. Clouds, sun mix, breezy, lower 40s, and you can see that trend as temps go down a few degrees, a couple of degrees each day as we head into the weekend. But the weekend looks dry with the exception of a flurry. Sunday gets blustery in the afternoon, winds pick up, and as we go into Sunday night, into Monday morning, it's going to be cold, but then we'll bounce back to around 40 in the afternoon. So a chilly one to start next week. We moderate Tuesday and Wednesday. Right now, Thanksgiving looks dry. Our next storm threat doesn't come in here until Black Friday and on into Saturday. All right, have a great day, everybody.
Stay with Western Mass News on air, online, and on our app throughout the day for breaking news, weather, and exclusive content.